listener-supported community radio. CIUT 89.5 FM, celebrating 35 years as the sound of your city.
Salí de casa con la sonrisa puesta, hoy me he levantado contento de verdad. El sol de la mañana brilla en mi cara, una brisa fresca me ayuda a despertar. Yo digo, la ciudad parece mi amiga, hoy es mi día y nadie me lo va a arruinar. Las chicas de la esquina ríen con picardía, yo sé que es lo que quieren y se los voy a dar. Yo digo salta, salta conmigo, digo salta, salta conmigo, salta, salta conmigo. ¡Hey! Voy por mi camino sin preocupación. Pasa la gente y me mira mal, pero no me importa, a mí me da lo mismo. Hoy estoy alegre y tengo ganas de saltar. Yo digo salta, salta conmigo, digo salta, salta conmigo, salta, salta conmigo, salta.
Curated by the people, for the people. CIUT 89.5 FM is the sound of your city.
Yo digo salta, salta conmigo, digo salta, salta conmigo, digo salta, salta conmigo, salta, salta, yo digo salta, salta conmigo, digo salta, salta conmigo, salta, 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 salta.
Hello, and welcome to Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM. My name is Seth Martosh, and I'm here with my co-host.
Alex Troxel.
And for those of you who are new to TFA, what we do, Alex, you tell us a little bit about what the show is about.
Yeah, so every week we metaphorically travel to a different country around the world, or maybe just a region, and we learn a little bit about the culture there, and we speak to a student who's from there. And through their music recommendations, we try and, sort of understand where they're from.
Exactly. And this week, we spoke to Cesar from
Cesar, yeah.
Spain. We'll get a little bit about his name pronunciation later, but
Yeah.
he told us a little bit about a northern region in Spain called Asturias and the Celtic influence they've experienced there, especially in their music since all the way back. Yeah.
Yeah, the Iron Age. And on top of that, he also recommended to us a Spanish prog song that includes or incorporates traditional Spanish instruments, some Spanish guitar, into the prog sound. And yes, that does mean that there will be a 10-minute long prog song on this episode of Tracks from Abroad.
There you go.
And you might think, well, that's a little odd, but let me put it to you this way. Who are the arch enemies of the prog rockers? It's a rhetorical question. That would be the punk rockers.
Okay.
Now, what is more punk than putting a 10-minute long prog song on the radio?
Wow.
Station manager Ken Stour, he's like, no, don't do it. Ex-host Jesse McDoodle, he's like, under 3 minutes, please. And we just don't care. We're going with it. It's a recommendation from someone from Spain. He says this is one of the great prog bands of Spain, and so we'll have a listen.
Alex, you're a rebel. You're a rebellious radio host.
That's me.
I'm not too well versed in either of the scenes, but I'll take your word for it. You have a lot of conviction over
Absolutely.
putting this song on, and you haven't let us down thus far. It's been 25 episodes?
Absolutely. And when it comes to music from 1976 to 82, that's my wheelhouse right
Okay.
there. So I can guarantee this is quality.
Okay, well, before we listen to some of this music, we're going to learn a little bit more about who recommended us these tracks. And coming up is our interview with Cesar on Tracks from Abroad.
Well, I was born in Madrid, and I grew up in Madrid until I started university in Barcelona.
What do you think are the main differences between Barcelona and where you're from?
Well, there's a bit of rivalry between the two cities, but I love the two cities, and I think they're very similar, but I don't know. I think people in Madrid are a bit more welcoming, but Barcelona is great as well.
What's that like, at least in the football world, to go into the stadiums and the rivalries?
There's rivalry in football, but there's also rivalry in many other aspects. There's rivalry in many things, but the biggest one is football. And yeah, when Barcelona played against Madrid, and I was in Barcelona, I was like the only Real Madrid fan there. So it was like everybody against me, but it's fun.
Have you been to any sporting events here in Canada yet?
Yeah, I've gone to the Raptors game.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to watch against the Pacers. I'm a Pacers.
How was that experience?
I like the game. Yeah, too many timeouts for the NBA, but it was a lot of fun.
Would you say is the main difference between Spanish basketball and North American basketball?
Well,
the
we
NBA?
have, in Spain, we have FIBA rules, so it's a bit different. For example, we don't have 3 seconds in the zone. We don't have that in FIBA rules.
Okay.
So and the court is a bit smaller, and there are not as many timeouts. So the game is more continued.
Right.
So yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you came to Toronto and studying here?
I mean, I came to Toronto because I wanted to do exchange program. I'm here in Toronto for exchange program, and my university has agreements with U of T. But I also Toronto seemed fun. I read a little about it, and the city seemed fun. So I applied here and I got accepted. So
Were there any other places that you could have gone?
I remember I had to rank universities. So I put U of T first, then I put UPenn, and then I put Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Also here, I applied here because they have the Fields Institute, which is very good for math. So that's why I wanted to come here as well.
What were the selling points when you were reading about Toronto? Was it the university or just the city? Or?
Well, the university was a big part.
Yeah.
The maths department here is good, but the city seemed fun. I knew about the Raptors, and I didn't know much about Canada, so I wanted to learn a little bit about that. And I don't know, I read when you read about Toronto, the things you read it's very diverse with many different people. So I don't know, it seemed fun.
And how has your expectation of the city lived up in being here for almost 8 months now?
Yeah, since September. Well, it's a curious city. Before in New York, I thought it was going to be a lot of tall buildings, but I was very surprised. There's this part of the city with very tall buildings, but then you move away from that and it's very small buildings and houses. I don't know, I didn't expect that.
It is difficult to live up to New York City. That's true.
That's what I said, even when we had another guest who was from New York also, and some people say Toronto's the New York of Canada.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that accurate? Because I feel like people just say that for no reason. It's not actually true.
It just means it's a big city.
But yeah, it doesn't compare.
I prefer Toronto. It's more relaxed, New York.
Not as hectic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely true. So what would you say are some of the biggest cultural differences you noticed between Canada and Spain?
One thing I realized a lot is here, the stores, they are open until very late, and even and on the weekends, they open until very late. In Spain, it's during the weekends, you cannot go to a supermarket.
The different hours and the different schedules between Spain and Canada, I think, is really something that I noticed. So, for example, are you a siesta enjoyer?
Yeah, I do siesta every day.
You in here still?
Yeah, but I take 20 minutes siesta or 25 minutes siesta, so it's not that long, but I really cannot go on with my day without sleeping siesta after lunch every day.
Yes. Is that the ordinary length, 20 minutes, or some people an hour, 2 hours? Or?
It depends. I do it every day, so I cannot afford to do an hour siesta every day because I just throw my day away.
Yeah.
But I mean, people in Spain during the week, they usually don't take a siesta because that's in the middle of the day, but they do during the weekend. I like the 20-25 minutes because it's perfect. Otherwise, it's too much time.
Do you feel energized after?
Oh yeah, much more productive. If I don't take a siesta, then in the afternoon I'm tired. I cannot focus on my work. So yeah.
I heard the origin of the siesta is like, so, working in a hotter country with the sun out, like at the time that the sun is at its peak, that's when you would go and rest. Do you know if that's true?
That's probably true. Like in the south of Spain, at that time, you cannot go outside.
Right.
Like the only thing you can do is sleep because it's so hot. And in the south, like people, like especially people who used to work in the land, like they would wake up like at 5 a.m. Because otherwise it was too hot. And then maybe they finish their work at 2 or something like that. And then they go to sleep a little.
And have you traveled a lot around Spain to see like all of the country?
Yeah, I've traveled a lot, not to everywhere, but for example, my granddad is from Jaén. It's a small region in Spain where like 50% of the world olive oil is produced, and they have to work there, and it's very hot there. So, like, I remember being there, and at 3 p.m., you just cannot go outside. Like, it's 40 degrees weather. So.
Did you work at all? Like, did you go to some of the farms and see how that was all made?
No, I want to go, but it's really special, like the way they collect the olive. And it used to be very hard because like when you recollect olives, they are like very small and very tiny, so you cannot go by one. So you get these sticks, and the way you collect them is you hit the tree with the sticks, and you put like something where the olives fall, and that's how you collect them. Well, now they have more modern methods, but yeah. And
what's another place in Spain that, not a lot of people know about that you would recommend to go visit?
I guess foreign people just usually go to the south or the southeast, but if you go to the northwest of Spain, that is great there, because during the summer it's not that hot. So like if you go to the south, it's sometimes too hot in the summer, but if you go to the northwest, that's usually where more Spanish people go on holidays, and it's a bit more undiscovered by foreign people. So Asturias, Galicia, and Santander, they are very nice places to go.
Is there a difference in music between the north and south of Spain?
Yeah, like in the south is more like flamenco and copla. In the northwest, Asturias, Galicia is more like, I don't know, they have like the bagpipes. I don't know. Yeah, and they have like more northern influences. Yeah.
Do you think you could recommend us a song that we might hear from that northern tradition?
It's Asturias Patria Querida.
All right, well, thank you. We're going to have a listen to Asturias Patria Querida, and we'll be back on CIUT 89.5 FM.
And welcome back to Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM. Today we're talking to Cesar from Spain. Cesar, could you tell us a little bit more about the music that you might hear in Spain?
I mean, nowadays it's a lot of like reggaeton influences, but it used to be like the more traditional music in Spain is flamenco or jota or copla, but I don't know, there's also a lot of big tradition in classical music, classical guitar, so we have a lot of influences also from here, from the US and from England, so...
I just wanted to ask you about, you said you're in your fourth year, or your final year,
Yeah.
and then you're going to graduate, and I wanted to know a little bit about what you're going to do after and what your plans are for the future.
Well, I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'll graduate and then I'll do a master's, but I don't know where I'll do the master's. I applied to Toronto as well, but I've applied to other places in Europe, so I'm kind of waiting for the answer, and depending on those answers, I'll decide. So, yeah.
Is there something specific you'd like to study in your master's, like for a thesis or an interest of yours?
Yeah, so my undergraduate was math, so like a lot of math and like very theoretic math, so like a lot of proofs and a lot of theory. So I really like that, and I also do that like in my spare time, like I like doing that, but like for my master's, I'm looking for something related to math, but a bit more applied, so like statistics or something like math and computer science. So I want to go a bit more into like applied math, that I can maybe then use that to work in some other place. So yeah.
You find there's a lot of like job opportunities in that field?
Yeah, there is more now. Like before, if you studied math, the only thing you could do really is like go into graduate school and then become like a professor or a teacher at a high school. But now there's many other things. Like there's a lot of math in like finance, and there's a lot of like data science, and there's a lot of different things now.
You mentioned doing more theoretical math in undergraduate.
Yeah.
Could you just try to explain just a little bit how certain things in math have not been solved?
Well, it just came up to my mind. But
Yeah.
for example, there's this thing called the Riemann hypothesis. So there's this function called the Riemann theta function, which is, we have the real numbers, but we also have the complex numbers. So, well, the thing is, there's this function, and we want to know where this function is zero. So when you plug in a number, and we want to know if like the output of that function is zero. So we don't really know where the zeros of these functions are. And if we would know, we would really know a lot of things. Like if we know where these zeros are, we would know a lot of properties about prime numbers, but we don't know. So a lot of people are studying that, but it's a very difficult topic.
If you figure it out, they can rename it to the
hope so.
Traxel hypothesis.
That would be nice.
I think if you solve this one, they give you $1 million. There's like this Clay Institute of Mathematics, and there's like a list of problems. And I think if you solve this one, they give you like $1 million.
That's really cool. I like that the math institutions are like putting out bounties for
like wanted,
problems.
like
Yeah.
answer to
good.
this hypothesis.
That's good. I'm a philosophy major, so it's similar in that you can be a professor, and that's pretty much it, unless you change into a different degree in your master's. But we should do that too.
I mean, $1 million.
Yeah, like meaning of life. Can we get like
Yeah.
$3 million for that? Maybe that'd be cool. So before you were telling us a little bit about the differences between the music in the north and south, can you tell us a bit more about the music that you might hear in Spain?
Well, if you go to the south, it's a lot of flamenco, a lot of guitars, a lot of dancing, a lot of like hand clapping. Well, for example, if you go to Valencia, or there's like a lot of marching bands. Like I think Valencia is one of the regions of the world with more musicians per capita. And in the north is more like influences from northern countries, and yeah. But there's also influences from many other countries, like the US and England.
So is there any band in the history of Spanish music that you think you don't want to be lost to time?
I really like Triana because they are also not very famous, and I like them because they combine like progressive rock with flamenco.
Okay, well, we'll have a listen to a song by Triana here, and we'll be back on Tracks from Abroad.
subir al cielo para ver y bajar hasta el infierno para comprender qué motivo es que nos impide ver dentro de ti, dentro de ti, dentro de mí.
Welcome back to Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM. Today we're speaking with Cesar from Spain. You mentioned that you found out about the show because you were on a trip with the University of Toronto Outdoors Club.
Yeah.
And you met our former director, founder of the show, Jesse. But tell us a little bit about that club and being involved with certain things at the school.
Here at U of T, there are a lot of clubs, so that's really fun. And I knew about this club when they did the club fair.
You also mentioned before going to university in Europe, there's not as many clubs or abilities to get involved. So how has that been coming here and seeing all the different types of clubs or, gatherings that they have?
Your university life, like there's not much university things going on there. While as here, it feels like everything is focused. So like you do like kind of everything in university. So like you have everything in the campus, like in the same place, and you have like a lot of libraries and like a lot of clubs. So and you have like a radio things. So I mean, it's also more expensive here, the tuition, but you have also more opportunities. While in Spain, you have like your university experience is more just like the lectures, and that's about it.
Do you prefer like the ability to be involved, or do you like it a bit that it's kind of separated your university life and your personal life?
I mean, I think it's great here that you have like so many clubs and so many opportunities. Yeah, so I think ideally this would be better, but it's also a bit more expensive here. So I don't think, like in Spain, it's very cheap to study. So, there's some good things and some other bad things.
We always try to get a food question in. So I have to put you on the spot and ask you to explain tapa.
There's no definition of what a tapa is. Tapa is usually something small that you eat, and it usually is bread with something on top. So like bread with a little bit of tortilla or with a little bit of chorizo, but it doesn't necessarily have bread. Tapa is just like a small thing you can eat. So for example, one thing you say is nos vamos de tapa, so we go tapping, I don't know. So that's when, like, instead of having dinner, you go to one place, you try one tapa here that looks very good, then you go to another place, you try this little tapa over the other place. So yeah.
Just because I'm just constantly being thrown off. If we wanted to pronounce Spanish names, like how they should be pronounced, is there like a rough guide that you can lay down, or is it like different to each word?
I'd say here people struggle saying like the C. So if my name is Cesar, but if I say Cesar to people, they won't understand. So I think people struggle with the C or with the R, with this R. I think names in Spanish are easier because they are like phonetically consistent. So like, for example, here the vocals, you pronounce it differently for each word, while in Spanish it's like the E is E for any word.
Okay.
While in English, for example, I, like the two E's have different pronunciations.
Right.
Is there a specific word in Spanish that is very difficult to pronounce for people?
Anything that's very long with an X in it, there's a word.
With an X?
Yeah.
Well, how do you pronounce the X?
Well, we don't really have an X. Like, for example, Mexico, you say like a J, not an X, so like Mexico.
Is there one more song that you could recommend for us today?
If you want to hear like what people nowadays would listen in Spain, like people my age, we can put some Zetangana. I really like that guy. He mixes a lot of like genres into his music.
Perfect. What is the song called?
It's Mala Mujer, so in English it's Bad Woman. And it's talking about, you might know Rosalía. So Zetangana and Rosalía, they used to date. So this song is about her. And like in the song says, you left like my body full of scars, your gel nails.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rosalía has gel nails, so it's talking about her.
Well, we're going to take a listen to Mala Mujer from Zetangana. Thank you again, Cesar, for coming on and sharing with us about your culture, and wish you good luck in the future. And this has been Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM.
Mala mujer, mala mujer. Me han dejado cicatrices por todo mi cuerpo, tus uñas de gel. Mala mujer, mala mujer. Me han dejado cicatrices por todo mi cuerpo, tus uñas de gel. Vámonos. Me he jurado miles de veces que iba a borrar ese rastro, olvidar tu dolor. Soy un perro perdido en la calle, sintiendo que cualquier brisa me arrastra a tu olor. Solo porque tú te has ido, quiero perder el sentido. Y bailo borracho perdido, desesperado. Solo porque tú te has ido, quiero perder el sentido. cuerpo, tus uñas de gel. Y ahora estoy desesperado, desesperado. Bailo borracho, perdido, desesperado. Y ahora estoy desesperado, desesperado. Bailo borracho, perdido, desesperado. Mala mujer, mala mujer, mala mujer. Mala mujer, mala mujer. Me han dejado cicatrices por todo mi cuerpo, tus uñas de gel. La primera vez que he visto ese cuerpo moverse, estaba sonando un tema de la fuente. Un golpe de sudor empapando mi frente. Le brillaban las uñas, la miraba la gente. El camelino está al culo y bien alto el mentón. Lo hacía despacito al ritmo de la canción. Yo estaba en la cabina preparando el show, pero quería bajarme y arrancarle el crop. Cuando la vi bailando, estaba como perdida dentro de sí. Cuando la vi bailando, debí correr lejos de allí. Y no me pude contener. Y ahora yo estoy llorando y ella bailando. Mala mujer, tú lo que eres una ladrona que me ha llevado a la ruina. Te has llevado mi corazón, mi orgullo, mi pasta, mi paz, mi vida. Tú lo que eres una ladrona que me ha llevado a la ruina. Te has llevado mi corazón, mi orgullo, mi pasta, mi paz, mi vida. Mala mujer, mala mujer. Me han dejado cicatrices por todo mi cuerpo, tus uñas de gel. Mala mujer, mala mujer. Me han dejado cicatrices por todo mi cuerpo, tus uñas de gel.
Hello, hello. You've been listening to Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM. We've been enjoying the nice sunny day here in the studio and listening to some Spanish music. And we'd like to just thank our guest, Cesar, from Spain, for coming on and showing us, a lot of really interesting music from all around Spain.
Yeah, and I really appreciated him telling us a little bit about Spanish pronunciation.
Yes.
Because
Yeah, he gave us a little bit of a rundown. And even though at the beginning of the interview, he told us how to pronounce his name, for some reason, we just decided not to. I don't know if it was conscious.
Yeah.
He was like, it's fine, you can pronounce it Cesar. And then we were like, cool. And then at the end, we kind of thought, yeah, maybe we should have
actually
tried a bit harder.
Yeah, well, after he explained it to us, I think it's one of those things that it's like the Spanish pronunciations of things where you use the TH instead of the sort of sound.
Yeah.
Those are just English sounds, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's some sound that we can't pronounce. So,
Right, like a sound you don't have in English.
Yeah.
Some clicks or back of the throat type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
So worth listening to, worth taking into practice. Coming up next, we're going to listen to some more Spanish music. We'll have a song by a band called Mecano, which is one of the best-selling Spanish bands of all time. They were actually a synth pop band that grew out of this movement called the Madrilenian movement or Madrilenian scene, which was sort of born outside of once the Franco's dictatorship fell, and sort of renewed hope for a positive future. So they took inspiration from futurism architecture and synth pop and music, so kind of future-oriented sounds. And it definitely sounds, the song that we'll listen to is from 1998, I believe, and it sounds like the future according to 1998.
Wow. It's always interesting to hear what in each era of time people think the future is going to be like.
Exactly.
And before we get to one of the best-selling Spanish artists of all time, we'll listen to Juan Garcia, an up-and-coming Canadian Spanish flamenco artist, and he's taking the genre in a more rhythmically complex direction. What do you mean exactly by that, Alex?
Well, I think you'll have to find out.
Okay.
I think you'll have to,
a little bit of mystery.
To have a listen. Yeah, it starts a little there's a hurricane coming, swirling around you of all these different rhythms, and then it sort of clicks into place. Yeah,
I like the imagery you're painting here for us.
That's me. So yeah, I think we'll have a listen, and we'll be back in say maybe 10 minutes for another little spoken interlude. This is Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM.
Yo voy a cantar este corridazo que me lo pidió la plebada del 25. Voy a redactar una gran costumbre que cuando salimos preparamos los motores. Se caló el caricatura en la Kawasaki y mi compachito ya prendió la tacomona. Se escucha bramar una meche negra, el Kiki y los carros carnales que dan guerra. Unos que se van y otros que se quedan para armar desmadre y levantar la polvadera. Compa Samuelón y pa'l compa Pecho les mando un saludo y esa manchesta que tienta. Y aquí andamos a millón viejones porque al 100 anda cualquiera. Y esto es Juanito García. Quieren apostar, hacerme una carrera. Cerramos las calles, no importa si el radio suena. Miedo aquí no hay, puro pa' adelante. Pues damos la cara y nos ponemos al tirante. Salen unos palochos, se jaló en la mocha. Y el compa José ya montó la dicelzona. Cuenta la leyenda que me ha destejado. El que busca encuentra por ahí un dicho mentado. No creen que se me olvida mandar un saludazo para el compa Pecas y para el pochimentado. Y si quieren saber quién compuso el corrido, pregúntenle al compa Juanito García.
En realidad, aún no he podido olvidarme de ti.
Admite que yo soy la única que puede dedicarte a este tema, pero prefieres una básica, porque ella nunca te dará un problema. Y aunque haga ver que no te acuerdas, lo tuyo es mío, era real. Yo pienso en ti incondicional. No quería que tuviera final, porque
no puedo olvidar tus besos mojados, ni la forma en que tú y yo nos devoramos esa noche en mi cuarto. Y la luna fue testigo del calor de nuestros cuerpos encontrados. La única foto que te di un besito, dame la pega en la pared pegadita. La noche nuestra, una noche muy bonita, mami. Tú siempre vuelves porque sabes que eres pa' mí. Quédate un rato, quiero chingarte infinito. Tú me deseas porque no te necesito y no es casualidad.
Mami, sigo grave y tú tienes el jarabe, lo rico que sabe darte un besito bien suave. Toma la llave, toma la clave, hazme el amor y que se empañen los cristales de la nave.
No dejo de pensar en ti y en tu cuerpo. Yo te necesito aquí solo un momento.
No puedo olvidar tus besos mojados, ni la forma en que tú y yo nos devoramos esa noche en mi cuarto. Y la luna fue testigo del calor de nuestros cuerpos encontrados.
Regálame otra noche como aquella de Miami en el hotel. Hace el amanecer, escuchando los clásicos de Doble con Yandel. Como tú no hay ninguna, mami, yo extraño tu piel.
Hoy yo me pierdo por la vela. Dicen de ella que es cara de vela. Sencillo, easy. Dicen de ella que no puedes tenerla. Ey, ey, voy de punta en blanco con la bata. Millonaria con hoodie barata. Que me queda bien con una whitey. Dame que en casa soy una wifey.
¿Por qué será que contigo me da? Son estas ganas una enfermedad. Te quedaste en mi piel enredada, te quedaste en mi mente hospedada. Si las ganas ya están en el tope, mírame a la cara, deja que mis labios te toquen. Que la noche nos arrope y si comer no es un error, que tu cuerpo se equivoque. Conmigo, aquello que hicimos no lo olvido. Tengo la luna como testigo. Bebé, no miento cuando te digo que yo no puedo olvidar tus besos mojados, ni la forma en que tú y yo nos devoramos esa noche en mi cuarto. Y la luna fue testigo del calor de nuestros cuerpos encontrados.
Wisin y Yandel, Rosalía,
La Rosalía.
directamente desde la base. Los legendarios.
Esta es la última misión.
Welcome back to Tracks from Abroad on CIUT 89.5 FM. Hopefully you've been enjoying listening to the Spanish music that we've been playing for you this evening. We just listened to a song by Rosalía, who's extremely popular now, Spanish artist. Had a couple of albums come out in the last, 5-ish years, I would say. Was on Travis Scott's album. And the song that we just played was with Wisin and Yandel, and has a lot of that reggaeton influence that Cesar was talking about. And she has a bunch of other tracks that, if you're curious, you should definitely check out.
Name one.
Name one, Di Mi Nombre.
Okay.
That's a good one. It's a little different, not as reggaeton, not as pop, but a little more traditional.
Yeah, there's a lot of. She's a very diverse artist.
Yeah.
From my understanding, there's a lot of. Have you heard Arca before?
No.
Arca's another one that almost made it into the cut, but she has music ranging from like pop to ambient.
Okay.
Yeah, another very diverse Spanish artist.
There's another cool artist from Barcelona. I think, actually, maybe I'm getting that wrong.
Okay.
But called BB Tricks. And she's like a Spanish rapper. It's not really for everybody. At first I didn't like it, but it kind of grows on you a little bit.
From Barcelona, correct.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yes.
Good to know.
And coming up next, we have a song by Tino Casal, who is a very enigmatic Spanish artist from the last century. He sprained his ankle while on tour in 1985. Then he ignored everyone's advice to just stop and, let it heal.
As you do.
As you do, exactly. But then he ended up with necrosis in both hips.
Wow.
I think from self-medicating perhaps to try and, get through the pain.
Yeah.
From after that, he disappeared for a couple years. No one knew where he went. And he came back a couple years later with a golden cane and a new album. The cane, from all my research and looking into videos, is basically a prop.
Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it.
I don't know if he needed it at some point, but it definitely helps his aesthetic, and I think you'll be able to get an idea of what his aesthetic is when we listen to the song. It's a very it sounds a lot like the sort of music that a character like him would put together.
Do you think it could have been one of those hidden canes where inside is like a sword or something?
There's probably something in there.
Those are super illegal, I think.
Maybe just a beverage for him then.
Just like in the shaft of the cane, it's like
just a very long
some alcohol
beaker.
or something.
Yeah, probably.
Damn, that's good. I mean, maybe a cane is a good prop. You could hide some things in there.
That's true.
Awkward, mysterious silence after that.
You don't happen to have a cane on you now, do you?
Not on me, but
Okay.
at
Thank
home
goodness.
I might.
Thank goodness.
Well, we hope you've been enjoying the show, and as always, we'd like to thank the team here at Tracks from Abroad for helping us to produce and put this on every week. In the studio with us today, board tech Matthew and director Rosalia.
Yeah, short for Rosalia.
Uh-huh. And we also have, not here today, other director Elżbieta and editor Simon, who make us sound so silky smooth, and social media managers Akshita and Isabella. And what do we got next coming up?
As always, coming up 7 to 8, it's Indigenous Waves on CIUT, 89.5 FM, the sound of your city. But that's it from us here at Tracks from Abroad. We'll play you out with the sounds of Tino Casal. Thanks for listening.
Es un huracán profesional que viene y va buscando acción, vendiendo solo amor. Aniquilar, pisar por encima del bien y el mal es natural, en ella es natural. En tiempo de relax, empolva su nariz. Dolor en tus caricias y cuentos chinos. Yo seguiré siendo tu perro fiel. Mas Eloís es rápida como la pólvora, serpiente en el Edén, siempre va bien. Donde quiera que va, la bomba en Hiroshima está a punto de estallar. Peligro no tocar. Sus pechos colmados y nitroglicerina. Eloís, dolor en tus caricias y cuentos chinos. Yo seguiré siendo tu perro fiel. Mi Eloísa, amar deprisa, amar de bien, no sé por
qué me ocultas